Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I want to talk about DeFi, and I see a lot of people being very hesitant. And while I think that it's good to not be just blindly trusting in something because everybody else is doing it, like that I 100% agree. I think that we need to open our minds and test things and then decide. That is my thought. That is my recommendation. Ultimately, you can do whatever you want. So let's start by talking about what is DeFi. DeFi stands for Decentralized Finance, and this is opposed to traditional finance or TradFi, which means that all the operations that we do are done in a peer-to-peer way without having a middleman that is taking a cut from everything that we do. So right now, for example, you can go to a bank, mortgage your house, take a loan, and then you pay interest to the bank, right? With decentralized finance, you can lend your assets and then borrow against your assets. So it's the same thing, but instead of having to go to the bank and then the bank making the money, you can manage your own debt. You could also, if you have assets, you can lend them and then people will pay you for that service. In liquidity pools, it's a similar story. Right now, for a long time, the only option that we had was to go to a centralized exchange, and then they were making all the fees. With DeFi, you can provide the liquidity for people to swap in and out of assets, and then you make the fees for providing that service. So one thing that I want you to understand is that beyond incentives are there to attract liquidity, but the incentives are not really what's going on. As when we have a more mature market, then that market should be able to sustain itself. If you go to Ethereum, for example, and you see the amount of money that the volume that is being moved back and forth, that generates enough fees to justify putting your money to work there. In DeFi, no one can block your access. It's transparent. If you know how to read the Explorer, you can see everything that happened, and it's permissionless. So like I said, other than very specific use cases like what's happening on the decentralized exchange on the XRP Ledger, that is a permissioned DEX, you need to have a KYC to access. But once you're in, you can trade in and out and no one can tell you that you can't. So unless you're doing something illegal, you should not have a problem to be able to trade in that DEX. With Flare networks, it's the same thing. You're in, you can trade, you can swap back and forth, you can do whatever you want. And as long as you're not doing anything illegal or hurting anyone, then no one should say anything to you. The next thing that I want to touch upon is why Flare is a great place to learn. Like I was saying earlier, it's not about just being like, that's another scam and then dismissing it. Because to be honest, you sound extremely ignorant when you say that. And for me, the only thing that I read from that comment is that you have no idea what you're talking about. My recommendation is put a couple dollars. It doesn't have to be more. Like literally with Flare, with a couple dollars, you can do 100 transactions. You can test, and it doesn't matter if you're with $1 or with $1 million. The dynamics are exactly the same. So you bring $1 or two to Flare, you move it back and forth, you move between wallets, you deposit on liquidity pools, you depositing and borrowing and lending, you take a little loan. So like if you deposit $1, you take 20 cents out. You're not going to lose them, but if you do, you're not going to be hitting your health. You're not going to regret it. So the more you do it, the more comfortable you feel using the platform, and then you can increase your capital on those platforms. You can literally test Flare networks. Like you can literally use 5 or 6 protocols with a couple dollars, with $5. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Pick a number that is comfortable for you to be playing around. Like if you wanted to go to school, you would have to put hundreds of thousands of dollars on college to get a degree. So why not? Why wouldn't you spend a few dollars to learn this? There's a lot of videos, there's a lot of content, and just test it out. Like, don't be afraid of this technology. I feel like everybody's saying, oh, crypto's the future. And then when say, okay, let's use it, and everybody's like, oh, no, it's too risky. So I think that there's a little bit of a disconnect between what is being built and the old belief system of people that were like, oh, no, in 2015, you just hold and you do anything else. With DeFi, you can set up a Rabbit wallet on your browser, like this one over here. You transfer a few dollars, like this is a test wallet that I have. I have $15 in here, and I'm doing transactions. And this is the one that I use for the demos. It doesn't have to be more. It's super fast, it's super cheap, and it's a great way to lose that fear of what you don't understand. Tactics and their strategies for different market dynamics. And I will make more videos of this DeFi 101 series to give you an overall picture of how DeFi works. We also have the DeFi University at flareforward.com if you want to go more in depth with all these topics. And we have a community where you can ask questions and you can have direct access to us, and then we can help you on your journey. We are not here to tell you what to do with your money. We're here to teach you how to use the tools so that you can make decisions. Crypto empowers users, but does not force them to make right decisions. And if you want to be part of the future financial system, then you need to get outside of your comfort zone and step up your game. Because like we all know how much money the banks made from doing all of these operations, you can't expect to be like, I don't want to get outside of my comfort zone and also make money from that. So first you learn and then you earn. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video.